That would be a disaster. All right, when Marcella comes back, I'll give some instruction, and it's pretty straightforward. We've been lucky with the technology too.
Oh, awesome.
I'm here. I'm just on my laptop, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the way this works is I'll be host. I'll be acting as host. I'll open, say a few words, probably very few words. I'll introduce you and your topics kind of all at once at the beginning. And then I'll welcome on the first speaker who, let me see what the order is here. The order is Madeline, Marcella, and Matt. So if Madeline's not here, then we'll start with you, Marcella.
Okay, I just messaged her and said, "Hey, are you joining?" So.
All right. Well, if she's not here by the top of the hour, we'll go live stream to Facebook at the very top of the hour. So as soon as the clock hits 10 o'clock, that's when it's going to go live stream, and that's when we'll start. And I'm recording this also. So the way this works is I'll start out as the host. I'll welcome Madeline or Marcella, depending upon if Madeline shows up in time. And everybody else's videos and audios will be off. And then when I welcome you to the stage, I'll click a button and it's gonna show up and say, hey, host wants to enable your video. And you click the button, your video will turn on. I'll turn on your audio. And then I'll say, the stage is yours, and I'll turn my video and audio off. And when I do that, just pause for like a second. It's gonna seem awkward, but we wanna be able to edit the video of just your talk. And if we're like talking over one another, it just doesn't come out clean. And so then at the very end, say, thank you, whatever you wanna say. And feel free to announce something if you have an event going on. Don't want any sales, but if you want to give away a gift or offer something of value, please do. And then I'll come back on again. Like, don't feel the need to fill that space with talk. Like when you're done, just like pause. It might take a second or two while I fiddle around. And then we'll just kind of do that 2 or 3 times.
Perfect. I just sent you in the messenger the link, which is kind of long to spell it all out. But if we can't, I can just say, look in the, comments or something. What would you say?
Could you create a slide or something with it on it?
You mean second or after we're done?
Maybe I can do it if it's in the chat. Or it's in Messenger. Let me go find it.
Oh, we have a few minutes. All right. Let me see.
Yeah, we roll we roll quick here.
Okay, let me see what I can do.
And my computer is slow. Something is slow here. Ooh. Okay, conquer chaos.
Yeah, conquer closet chaos.
Conquer closet chaos. Oh, I like that. Yay. Conquer closet chaos.
Everybody's hanging out in their pajamas now, so it's all about, standing up in your power, and then people have extra time right now, so why not? Let's get in the closet, make some space for new things to come in, get rid of the clutter.
Love it.
So it's gonna be fun.
Awesome. Let's see here. Yeah, if you go first, while you're speaking, I'll create a slide with that on it, just a simple PowerPoint, and I'll flash it up. and so people can copy it down.
Okay, cool. And what I was trying to do is send you the template of my branded slide, just to make it easy.
Sure, yeah, you can do that. That works too.
Okay, working on it.
All right, let's bring some good positive energy. I know it's early-ish, depending on where you are, but
Yeah, 8:53 here.
yeah, early.
And question, are you doing any, I guess the segue from one to the other, no questions or interaction or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, I usually, what Jim and I will do, we may just banter a little bit or share some, hey, this, you said about this really hit home with me or something like that. And it's 18 minutes max, just because we want to make sure if we do have 3 speakers, everybody has a chance to finish in the hour. If your talk's 15 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, whatever. But if you open your chat, when it hits the 15-minute mark, I'll give you where's my chat? Here we go. I'll give you something like that. I'll say 3 minutes, which means start wrapping up, means you have 3 minutes. Then I'll go 2 minutes and 1 minute. So just start wrapping up.
Now, if I'm on my phone, is that going to pop up automatically?
Did that pop up when I just did that?
No, I had to push on it to get there. So.
Okay. It may not. I just kind of assumed the chat would kind of open up. So,
you know what? So I have my laptop next to me. So if you put it in the messenger, I think that'll chime it and I'll know
okay.
that it's 3 minutes.
Okay.
I may not even go that long, but we'll see. Madeline, she just texted and said that it's not letting her in. So I'm not sure what that's about. You might want to reach to her or, I don't know.
Let me see. Unfortunately, my computer's really slow this morning for some reason. I just tried my phone here. I had to go say the technology's been working.
That's awesome.
Madeline, there you are. All right. Well, I'll touch base with her. I'll work that offline once we get started.
Okay. Oh gosh. Give me like a 2-minute warning before we start, just because I'm working on this PowerPoint.
All right, no problem. Oh boy. Exciting times.
Yeah, that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
Everybody doing okay?
Yeah. Healthy, upright, taking nourishment.
Good.
I miss climbing.
Oh, yeah.
That's my biggest problem. And if that's my biggest problem, I should just shut up. I've been trying to be pretty vocal to climbers, because I don't know if you know many climbers, but climbers have to climb.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good time to be gathering at crags and traveling places, and a lot of these places you climb outside are near small towns that are already under stress. And so going there and using their resources and their bathrooms and water is just kind of uncool. So I've been taking some flack for being vocal. That's okay. All right, we got 2 minutes. All right, that's Madeline. I'm going to work with her offline. As soon as I get Marcella, as soon as I get you going, Marcella, as soon as we kick this off,
I didn't get it done, so I don't know. Maybe you might.
I'll work it. I'll work it offline, and that should give me some time. All right, less than 2 minutes. I'm going to shut your videos off.
Okay.
I'm ruler of time, space, and dimension here in Zoom. I can do anything I wish. All right, and I'll mute. Mute. And Marcella, your last name Scherer, is that how you pronounce that?
Scherer.
Scherer?
Scherer.
Like the rock star Cher?
Yeah, S-C-H-A-R-E, Scherer.
Scherer, okay.
And then, if that makes any sense.
Okay. I'm going to mute you again. Hello, everyone. This is Don McGrath, co-founder of Speakers Pathway Coalition. We're a bunch of stage warriors. Thank you for joining us today for this daily episode of Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support, sponsored by Speakers Pathway. We asked ourselves, what can we do to help? What can we do to uplift people? What can we do to solve problems for people? And we don't have all the answers, but what we did know is we could put on a virtual stage. We knew we could do that. And so we did this. So over the past couple of weeks and all the way, we're booking out into deep into May. We're going to be bringing you this every single weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, with some just great information, some great inspiration, some really great speakers. I'm so excited. So today, we've got 3 great speakers. Our first speaker is going to be Marcella Scherer, and she's going to be speaking to us about the power of dress, the power of appearance. I'm so excited for that. And we'll also have Matt Stewart, who I really had a great time working with at an event down in Cocoa Beach, and he's going to be talking about how TEDx Talks saved him. And then third, we'll have Madeline Faella talking about Take a Pause, the TAP method. So I'm going to bring on our first speaker. Marcella?
Yes, hold on 1 second here.
Click the button. All right, welcome so much. Thank you so very much for participating in this.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for organizing this to inspire and empower others. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. All right, so the stage is yours.
Within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, they have formed 11 different opinions about you. Is yours making the impression that you want? People judge you, unfortunately, by the way that they see first in nanoseconds. So in today's changing times, I don't know about you, but have you found yourself working in your pajamas and maybe not going through the traditional steps of your normal grooming to get ready to go to the office, or perhaps to show up on a virtual meeting? So there's a lot of science actually behind this. So if you find yourself that you're not being as productive as normal, I want to offer a couple of things that will help to shift the way that you show up and the way that people interact with you. So yes, we are attending to be a little bit more casual if you're working from home, but here's what I want to encourage you to do and the science behind it. So there's actually been studies that prove that through the psychology of the way we dress, it can actually impact our behavior, our attitude, our hormones, and our heart rate. So with that said, think about it. Have you had a day, and you probably have lately, where you just rolled out of bed and went straight to the office, and maybe you had not as productive a day as if you would have gone through the traditional getting up, taking a shower, doing your normal grooming, getting fully dressed, getting in the car or however you get to work in the office, and then meeting with people and interacting in that way. So think about it. You can even do your own test and have one day where you roll out of bed and just show up in your pajamas and work. And the next day you take the time to do those normal grooming, getting dressed, and showing up as the powerful self that you are. So I want to give you a few things that can put some perspective on it. I'm not saying that you have to get all dressed up, suited up, just to walk over to your dining room table that now has become your new office. But I do want to talk to you about the power of dress and how it can actually shift your behavior, your attitude, and the outcomes. Because in this economy, we still, it means to the bottom line. So with that, think about suiting up to power up. Now, if you have a meeting, perhaps I want you to consider who your audience is. If you're, in an attorney or a CPA or, someone that's a little bit more formal, then you might want a little bit more structure in the way that you're showing up. Now, if you're doing virtual meetings, which most of us are at this point, wearing a jacket may not be suited correctly for that audience. But I want you to think about when you suit up, how that makes you feel I can't even say it. So anyway, you know what I'm trying to say is that when we suit up to power up, it changes the way that we feel and the demeanor. So a jacket is the most formal, structured way that we can show up in business. So think about Casual Friday, which I think most of us tend to be dressing that way now. That it creates this wonderful, friendly kind of creativeness. Sometimes when we can be super comfortable in our jammies, then, we think outside of the box and our behavior is different because it's not so structured and formal. So if that's the right atmosphere or the right thing that you really want to precipitate, then that's perfect for you. So be thinking about what that could look like in a Casual Friday. Still, you don't have to wear the pajamas on the bottom, but what you might want to think about is a collared shirt, because the collar is the second most formal of the way that we can dress and the way that we communicate non-verbally. So the other thing is, I know some of you, including myself, have found myself in my gym clothes or yoga clothes. I get in them and I don't get out of them till the end of the day. Now, getting in your gym clothes can be very productive if you're trying to get inspired to work out more, which I know if we've been confined to the house much longer, then our waistlines and none of our clothes are going to fit. So use the yoga or workout clothes to inspire you to get out for a walk or do some exercises and to be inspired in that way. Now, you can also be thinking about uniforms. So maybe it would be easier for you to create a uniform, if you will, because it really reminds us of the duties. So if it's almost like in the morning when you get up and you put on your quote unquote uniform, that could be, a collared shirt or blouse and something that you feel comfortable in, but you still feel powerful in, that's the key. And doing it consistently so that you show up as your brand, that's the important thing. So I say all this because you've heard dress for the part, or dress for the job that you know, or position that you want to aspire to. What I want to encourage all of you all, because my clients are mainly speakers, coaches, executives. Now that you're having to show up virtually, you're probably leading your teams, you're leading meetings online, and it's really critical that you dress modeling for others. Your impact is really important. And I have a 7-step system that I walk through, upscale your image. And U stands for understand the magnitude of your platform. So the way that you show up will encourage and inspire others. It will also empower you from the inside out to really show up authentically with who you are. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect or glamorous or all suited up, but know your audience, stand in your power, take the extra time each morning to do that self-care, if you will, of the grooming, the ritual, putting something on that feels really good. And if you're having a day where perhaps you're not feeling so great, you can use color as a way to lift your mood and inspire you. So for instance, if you're feeling kind of blue, maybe wearing your favorite bright color. Turquoise is a wonderful universal color, or something that makes you feel cheery, or maybe something that just feels really good. So think about the shift that can occur when you wear something that makes you feel good, that you get compliments on, if you're kind of in a downer mood. And certainly know that if you continue to wear pajamas and drawstring pants, that if you go and put your regular pants or jeans on that have a button and a zipper, it will totally be the reality check of how you're doing, because a lot of us have been eating more than normal. We're not in our regular routine. So don't get yourself in a situation where that adds to the, you know, how you're feeling. So be empowered, wear colors, know your audience, understand that you are powerful and your message is important. So if you're not getting out there and you need some little extra push or a little nudge, then now is the time. Now's the time to get out there, get on camera, get virtual, connect with others. People need to hear your message, and you showing up as the best version of yourself is not only essential for others, but super essential for yourself. So if any of you are struggling and have a little extra time and you like the idea of perhaps cleaning out the clutter that is in your closet that perhaps is holding you back from finding that perfect, you know, outfit or things that makes you feel good. Just having clutter in your closet and in general can bring you down. It can stress you out. It can actually set the whole mood of the entire day by not having, you know, something that feels super good. So one of the things I'm doing is tomorrow, Saturday, April the 11th, from 2 to 4 Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing a free masterclass. And this is on decluttering the chaos in your closet so that you can stand in your power and feel awesome. And energetically, I know for sure is that when we create space and we let go of things that no longer serve us, it's a vacuum. It allows new things to come in. And for many of us, we're not even sure what that exactly might be, but that's okay, because we have to get ready. We have to be open to this transition, pivot, whatever that looks like for each of us. But now is the perfect time. So I hope that you'll join me tomorrow. And if you find any of this resonates or you have any questions, please, I'd love to hear your feedback. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for tuning in. And thank you so much, Speakers Pathway, for hosting this. I'm super grateful for it.
Thank you so much, Marcella. I love what you had to say. You know, when people talk about their brand, they talk about their logo and their website and their webpage, but the most personal part of your brand is how you look, right?
Yes, it says a lot about us, and it conveys our personal brand for sure.
And one thing I love that you said is, you know, when I work from home, sometimes it's, you know, you get lazy and it's like you don't get dressed until 11 because you got early meetings but now if you do that every day, it can be kind of depressing, right? And so I love what you said, that, you know, that physical process of dressing yourself up kind of mentally prepares us to be out in this kind of a world, and maybe not that kind of a world. So I love that message.
Awesome. Well, thank you for allowing me to share it.
So I want to share something. It's a slide that I got from you that has the URL to your event tomorrow. And everybody who's watching this, do this. Sign up for it. Marcella is a master. So you will learn so much from this. I learned a lot just from sitting next to you, Marcella, at a dinner. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you wear clothes, go to this site. And if you're watching this and you don't wear clothes, you need to go to this even more. All right, there it is. Just copy it down, take a screenshot, and we'll put this in the post when we post.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. And now I'm so excited to have our next speaker talk, because I actually had a chance to work with Matt when he did a TEDx talk in Cocoa Beach, and he rocked it. He absolutely rocked it. And I just love the way he talks. I love his personality. I love everything about this man. And so let me turn your video on here. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, Don, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, you betcha. And today you're going to be talking to us about how TEDx Talks saved you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. The stage is yours.
The message I'd love to share today is beautifully simple, and I'd love to share it through my own personal story, if that's okay. How TED Talk saved me, this might sound like a bit of hyperbole, like a bit of exaggeration. Like, how can somebody who's on a red dot sharing some story save somebody? And I get that it sounds exaggerated, but I'd love, if that's okay, just to share a little bit about where I'm at and where really how TED and TEDx's have really helped reframe my own personal situation. So going back a few years ago, when I say a few, a number of years ago, I had beautiful honor to be an executive coach traveling all over North America. I was, not to brag, but I was in boardrooms where it wasn't just like multi-million, but US billion-dollar deals. I think the biggest one was $4 billion US. And so I really felt quite proud of myself and felt that, you know, I was, from a business perspective, I was very successful. I was traveling, you know, first class on the airlines. The scotch that we were drinking was just scotch. It was unbelievable. The steaks that I had, one steak cost more than my first car. And I loved the hotels we were staying at were beautiful. But despite all this, you know, and staying at some of the finest hotels throughout North America, I was getting actually really embarrassed, because each night I was wetting the bed. Now, I mean, not like necessarily wetting the bed like that, but from my neck right down to my toes, the bed would just be soaked. And I thought, you know what, probably need to get this checked out. This is probably not normal, because it didn't just happen once, but it was happening on a regular ongoing basis. So, you know, naturally I went into the walk-in clinic and they did lots of different tests. And, you know, the first doctor I saw was like, don't worry, there's probably nothing really to worry about. So I let it go. And of course, months went on, and, you know, had a few more tests, and I got the call to say, hey, we'd love you to come in. We just need to have a talk with you. And I don't know, I had that, you know, feeling in my stomach, but I kept thinking to myself, you know what, it's going to be okay. The doctors are saying there's nothing, it's probably just the flu, and I'm going to be okay. Well, let me tell you, I'll never forget that time sitting in that doctor's office. I can't remember her name, And in fact, it was almost like an episode of Charlie Brown when she was talking, because I really wasn't understanding everything she was saying. It really was just all mumbled jumbled. But I heard the word cancer, but I also heard the term no known curative therapy. And that just kept ringing through my head as she talked and talked and talked. And I stopped her and I said, does that mean it's incurable? And she just looked at me and said, yes. But here's what we're going to do. But yeah, there is no known curative therapy for the type of cancer that you have. And I just remember that hit me so hard, because it's one thing to have a game plan to go, yeah, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to be able to accomplish. But to know that it had no cure, I was like, well, now what? What do I do? I was living in Toronto at the time, and I walked home, and the busiest intersection in Canada, it was like one of those busy intersections where everyone crosses from all four corners at the same time, Yonge and Dundas. And I just stopped in the middle and I just bawled. I started crying because I was like, what do I do? What's the purpose? Why move on? Why even try all of this if there's no known curative therapy? What's the point if medical science is saying there's nothing to move forward to? And it was such a difficult time. I kept having to go back to the hospital for more tests. And I just remember lying there, and because it was a teaching hospital, of course, all the med students got to come in because I was a case study, and they wanted to examine me, and each one got an opportunity to do a full body, medical scan of me and to prod me. And I just remember sitting there thinking, what's the point? Am I just existing so that these students can have an opportunity as a case study? And it really bothered me. And if you've ever lied on one of these tables, you know just how lonely it is. And I really did get deep into my own thoughts, and probably places that I shouldn't have been thinking. But I really hit hard, because what was the point? Doing all these wonderful medical tests, for me, I just didn't know what was next. I went home and I binged, Family Guy and a bunch of other mindless TV shows, because really, what was the point? And it just sort of reminded me of just sitting at home and what do I do? What do I do? But years ago, when I was going through this, I discovered this channel on my TV called the TED Channel. And I discovered it, and it was interesting. As I was watching them, I started binging. And these talks from these wonderful individuals, talks around vulnerability, to this one talk around this gentleman who grew gardens in South LA. I don't know, it did something for me. And I binged and binged and binged these TED Talks, because it got me thinking that these individuals looked at life through a different frame. It was the same life, it was the same world, but they just looked at things differently. And what I loved about it was that their behaviors and their actions were impacted and were different than others, just because they looked at something through a different frame or a different lens. And that was really powerful for me. And that really helped me go, okay, so, now what? Because as an executive coach, I always challenge the executives that I worked with. There's no excuses. Now what? Well, here I am going, okay, it's incurable. I have cancer and there's nothing much they can do about it. So what's my now what? Well, cut to, I hired probably the best coach in my life, and I have to give her a call out, Trisha, because she really kicked me in the butt. We shared one evening that, one of my bucket list items was to do a TED Talk. But like so many people, I had a lot of that negative self-talk. I'm like, well, I'm not good enough for that. What message do I have to share? And all these, the typical things that we think about in terms of why. Why would I even bother? Am I good enough? And she really came back with, yes, you can. And now what are you going to do? And she challenged me on that. And so I'm really glad, and that Dawn shared as well earlier. I mean, I've had the opportunity now to travel the world. I've given 3 international TED Talks, one down in Furman University in South Carolina, another one where I had the opportunity to fly to Europe, go to the Netherlands, and speak at The Hague at a TED Talk. And then most recently, it was a wonderful opportunity to work with Don and his team down in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Again, getting the opportunity to stand on the red dot and just share a story as part of my bucket list of something that I wanted to do. And I'm so glad and honored. But when I look back to it, it really hit that one of the things that saying I would love to do a TED Talk is it got back to, for me, having a purpose again. Because after that diagnosis of incurable cancer, really, what was the purpose of anything that I did? And TED was one of many things. My family, my dog, so many wonderful things that helped give me purpose, but it really helped me refocus and go, what if I looked at things from a different lens? One of the things, if you've ever given a TED Talk, it's a lot of work. And action was something that I needed to do. Sitting on the couch wasn't action. I needed to do something. And what we're seeing now in the world is so many people doing so many amazing things and taking action in whatever way they can. So my challenge is to really look at life differently. Yes, I could still frame it or look at the lens of, yes, I have incurable cancer. So why bother? But I could look at it, go, yes, I have incurable cancer. And now what can I do in the time that I have left? How am I going to make the most of it? What could I do? And so it's just a different lens. Framing it differently has now allowed me to have different behaviors and different outcomes and have a different impact. And I'm so honored for that. So I said my message was simple. It's all about how we frame things. It's all about not only what we find in our purpose, but more importantly, in the actions that we take and the impact that we have. And that's just a small reminder for all of us. And so throughout this, I'm going to continue reframing it and looking at what's happening in the world through a different lens and hopefully taking positive action to have impact with everyone. You know, as we are physically distant, I'd love to stay creatively connected. And I'll just share this one image of me. So that my beard is my FU to cancer beard. And now I just got to think what I'm going to have to do now is an FU to COVID, but really focusing more on that high impact behavior that can really make an impact in the world. And I'd love to stay creatively connected with everyone. So my message is simple. The story is short, because I think really now it's about taking that action, changing our frame of mind, and doing something positive. And you'd love to stay connected with me. I'd love that as well. I'm just going to leave up here different ways that you can stay connected with me. And I'm just so honored, Dawn and everyone at Speakers Pathway Coalition, for the opportunity to share my brief story and little reminder on how we look at what's happening in the world. Big cheers.
Thank you so much, Matt. That was, as always, a fantastic, heartfelt message, and your story is extremely inspiring. And, you know, I think all of us in this time of a little more isolation, we all want to help, right? And one of the ways you can help is by sharing your message. And when we did this call for speakers for this, in like 24 hours, we had 60 speakers. Absolutely just blew us away. So I think a lot of people out there, and I'm hoping that people watching you today who might have in their head, oh, I can never do a TED Talk. I don't know enough. I'm scared, that they draw inspiration from that.
Thank you.
So one thing we're doing at Speakers Pathway is, you know, a lot of people, it can take a while to get on a TEDx stage. It can take a while. And it's kind of the big leagues. One of the things we're going to be launching coming up in May, we're putting on another virtual stage we're calling WebEx Talks. And this is a virtual stage for people who aspire to get on the TEDx stage, but aren't quite there and want some practical experience. And so we're going to have that program. You're going to hear more about that in the upcoming weeks. So anyone who's out there is thinking, gosh, you know, I'd really like to do a TED Talk, but I feel I need some help. Stay tuned. We're going to help you. All right. Well, unfortunately, Madeline had some technical issues. Her internet, it was really, really bad today. So she's not able to join us. And so we're going to reschedule her for another time. So that concludes our program for today. I want to thank again, Marcella and Matt, for sharing your amazing messages, and can't wait for tomorrow. Please join us tomorrow. We'll have another 3 fantastic speeches sharing messages of inspiration, hope, and support. This is Don McGrath, Speakers Pathway Coalition co-founder. Have a great day.